All right, I just sent him a message. I haven't gotten a response yet, Sharon.
Okay. We have enough. I don't know if we have Trevor and Ann. Another minute or so.
Should we get started? Yeah.
Trevor, have you
Oh,
heard?
this is Dale.
Thank you, Dale.
Good morning. Will the clerk please call the roll?
Good morning. Calling the roll for the January 4th, 2021 meeting. It is 11:04 a.m. Dale Miller. Nan Baker.
Here.
Trevor McAleer serving as an alternate for council president.
Here?
Lee Tucker serving as an alternate for the fiscal officer.
Here.
Nicole English serving as an alternate for Mike Dever.
Here.
Lenora Lockett. Here. We have a quorum.
And this is Dale. I don't know if you heard me when I first said here, so I'm here.
Yes, we did. Thank you.
We'll take a minute to review the minutes from the Border Control meeting from 12/21. Like to get approval of the minutes from the December 21st Border Control meeting. Are there any corrections to the minutes? Okay, hearing none, I'll motion to approve the minutes. Do I have a second?
Second.
Second, this is Trevor.
Seconded by Nicole English. All those in favor of approval of minutes indicate by saying aye.
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 Opposed? The Border Control minutes are approved. Do we have any public comment?
No public comment.
Hearing no public comment, I'll make a motion to go to the contracts and awards.
First item, BC 2021-01, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment with Fabrizi Recycling Incorporated for reconstruction and widening of Sprague Road from Webster Road to West 130th Street in the cities of Middleburg Heights, North Royalton, Parma, and Strongsville for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $195,863.63.
Nicole English with Public Works. This is an increase to a construction contract for, most of it is related to drainage, adjusting the elevation and some plan changes that occurred out in the field. Those are City of Parma costs, so 85% of this amendment is being paid for by the City of Parma, and there's a few other items that were related to maintenance of traffic phasing to adjust in order to let the traffic flow a little bit better during the construction. So those items are being split between Issue 1, the county, and the rest of the municipalities.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second, this is Trevor.
Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor of approval say aye. Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-02, Department of Public Works, submitting an amendment to contract with Independence Excavating Incorporated for construction of the Towpath Trail, Stage 4, in the city of Cleveland for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $153,401.46 from West 13th Street to Literary Avenue and from Merwin Avenue to Scranton Road.
Nicole English again with Public Works. This is another increase to a construction project, mainly due to unforeseen conditions out in the field, and there was a request for what those items were, and Public Works provided a spreadsheet that includes all of the items that were increased. This is 80% paid for by federal funding and 20% by the City of Cleveland through TIF.
Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second, this is Dale.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-03, Department of Public Works, submitting an agreement with the City of Seven Hills in the amount not to exceed $400,000 for maintenance and repair of storm and sanitary sewers located in County Sewer District Number 2 for the period January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021.
Nicole English again with Public Works. This is our annual agreement for sanitary services with Seven Hills. They're a direct bill community, so that means that as they need work done, we issue them a task. They give us a go-ahead, and then we bill them directly for the work performed. So this is setting a budget of $400,000 for this current year, and it's no different from the previous year as far as how the agreement works.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
Yeah, I have one. It's Trevor.
Okay.
Just, Nicole, do you know how much we billed them for 2020?
No, but I could check and get back to you.
Okay, thanks.
Are there any additional questions? Okay. Hearing none, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second, Trevor.
Second by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-04, Department of Development, recommending an award on a purchase order with City of Parma in the amount not to exceed $90,000 for home-funded activities for the period June 1st, 2020 through May 31st, 2022.
Good morning, Sarah Parks Jackson with the Department of Development. This is a part of Parma's federal home allocation that we are providing to them as requested. The item was delayed once we received the contract back. We had some issues getting it successfully into Lawson.
Are there any questions on this item?
This is Nan Baker. I have a question.
Councilman Miller? Oh, Councilman Baker, sorry.
That's okay. Just curious that, this is, 7 months, late. Has this been overcome? Is this just a one-time issue, or is this something we can expect to have happen going through the process?
Councilwoman Baker, this issue is being resolved as staff becomes more fluent, if you will, in getting items through the Lawson system. This contract wasn't returned to us until June from the city, and then we were working with staff to get it into the Lawson system correctly. So those challenges are very well being overcome as we speak, as they learn how to do these things correctly with the assistance of OPD, which has been great. We anticipate that going forward, we'll be able to have these items in a timely manner.
All right, thank you for your answer. Is there any way we could have expected Parma to get back to us sooner than when it was going to be effective, knowing it still has a continued process? If Parma perhaps would have gotten it back to us in April?
No, the contract was sent to Parma in April, and they returned it in June.
Okay. And they were aware that it was still not within contract time because it still had a process to go through?
That's correct, yes.
Okay, maybe some communication there to, I don't know, to be a little more proactive in letting them know that they're being compromised because they're taking so long to get it back to us. Puts it today, January 1st of 2021, when this was supposed to be enacted June 1st of last year. Just a suggestion.
Thank you. We will work with the agencies and the cities going forward to have them submit sooner.
Yes, thank you. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Are there any additional questions? Hearing no additional questions, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor of approval, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Thank you. Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-05, Department of Information Technology, submitting an amendment to a contract with Sharewell Software, LLC, for a cloud-based IT service desk management application for the period December 31st, 2016 through December 30th, 2021, to expand the scope of services to purchase 10 additional user software licenses effective January 4th, 2021, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $16,632.
Good morning, Janelle Green, Department of IT. As Sharon stated, this is a request to purchase an additional 10 concurrent licenses for our IT help desk ticketing system. This ticketing system allows us to track all of the incidents that come in with the various applications or password resets that happen throughout the county. Also, it serves as a system to house our inventory management as we receive orders throughout the county. We have more people that are accessing the ticketing system in order to resolve issues, and therefore we needed to request an additional 10 licenses.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Nicole English. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-06, Department of Information Technology, submitting an RFP exemption on requisition 4557, which will result in an award recommendation to Dell Marketing LP in the amount not to exceed $7,428.40 for the purchase of 2 Microsoft SQL Server Standard Core licenses for Common Pleas Court, and recommending the award in connection with said RFP exemption.
Good morning again. Janelle Green, Department of IT. This is a request, again, on the behalf of the Common Pleas Court to procure 2 additional Microsoft SQL Server standard licenses. This software will allow for the running of one of their servers to hold image documents and also to redact the information before it's released to the public. We have to redact private and personally identifiable information before it gets released to the public. These licenses will be added to our our Microsoft Enterprise License Agreement. We re-entered that contract over the summer, and it is due to expire in 2023, and these licenses would co-term with the end of that contract.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
Yes, this is Dale, and in the advanced questions, you said that each of the 15 subdivisions of IT keep track of what licenses they have and how many they need and how they're used and so on.
Mm-hmm.
My question is whether there is any overall system-wide coordination of the licensing process in IT.
Not an overall system, because we use licenses for different purposes and manage them differently. Each of those, in the functional areas of IT, coordinates the number of licenses, who it's assigned to, and different things like that. That is something that we're looking to do as we move through 21, but a centralized system for it at this time does not exist.
Okay, well, I would suggest the need for that because there may be some overlap between different subsections and some economies of scale that might be obtainable by looking at it system-wide.
We do, when items like this do occur, they, especially if there's a new system or something like that, it moves before the TAC board. That's usually when, because we have representatives from most of the functional areas of IT, that is something, when they review that, they take a look at what we already have and see if that's something that we can already use what we have in-house, or if that's something that is something that we don't have current functionality for and that we need to go to a different vendor or a different solution for that. So that's something that we do review on our TAC board.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
Are there any additional questions? Hearing none, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second, this is Dale.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-07, Department of Workforce Development, submitting an amendment to a contract with Growth Transitions Incorporated, doing business as Maher and Maher, for Workforce Innovation and Opportunities Act Consultant Services for the period February 1st, 2019 through December 31st, 2020, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2021, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $50,000.
Good morning. This is Lauren Carey with Department of Workforce Development. We are requesting to amend the contract with Mayor and Mayor. They provide WIOA subject matter expert services to us. They are assisting with the implementation of our strategic plan and also providing professional development for our Workforce Development Board, as well as staff, contractors, and partners.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, this is Dale.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-08, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services requesting authority to prepare an amendment to an agreement with the City of East Cleveland for Cuyahoga Emergency Communication System Emergency Dispatch Services for the period June 1st, 2019 through May 31st, 2022, to change the end date to April 30th, 2021, and to facilitate the transfer and installation of related assets to the City of East Cleveland Police Department. No additional funds required.
Good morning, this is Mary Beth Vaughn from Public Safety, and with this amendment, East Cleveland will resume answering all transferred and landline 911 and 10-digit calls and do dispatching to its police and fire departments. The county will transfer up to 2 Motorola consoles, a conventional channel gateway, and 1 LAN switch to East Cleveland. In addition, we'll install an Ethernet switch and 2 CallWorks call station positions as is normal for a PSAP.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
Yes, this is Dale, and could you say a little bit more about who initiated this change and for what reasons?
Councilman Miller, this is Alex Bellin, Director of Public Safety. This was if you remember back in 2012, there was a study that dealt with dispatch consolidation as well as call taking consolidation throughout the county. Over the last 8 years, there's been significant progress that's been made in that. One of the things that we looked at, especially when I took over in 2018, was the ability to make CCONs a regional dispatch center. Over the last year and a half, there were many efforts to make that a regional center. Unfortunately, with some of the timing that coincided with COVID, as well as some other factors, that didn't come to play. So what we wanted to do, working as well with East Cleveland, was to allow the progression towards the regional centers that have had success and to continue to have regional dispatch as a priority regardless of where it's located. We approached East Cleveland with this, the department did, and they were amicable.
So, is East Cleveland doing their own dispatching, or are they part of a larger system?
So they are currently with CCOMS, which is County Emergency Communications, and they will go to self-dispatching if this agreement moves forward.
So that would seem to be a move in the opposite direction from what we're trying to bring about. Is that correct?
Yes and no. Well, and the reason I say that is, yes, there will be East Cleveland working towards dispatching on their own, but no, it'll be the county, I'll say, refocusing efforts on consolidating dispatch from us being a dispatch center to us helping to coordinate and facilitate future consolidations of those that have had success and have had enhanced communication and operational efficiencies.
So do we anticipate that at some point Cleveland would link up with some larger system?
I apologize, I missed part of that, but I think I got the gist of the question. That is something I don't know at the moment, but as of this agreement and from what we've talked with Mayor King and Chief of Staff Smedley, they would transition to self-dispatch for the foreseeable future.
Okay, fine.
Are there any additional?
I have a question, Nan Baker.
Councilman Baker. Councilwoman Baker, go ahead.
Yes. So if I understood the answer correctly, and East Cleveland is going to a self-dispatch, do they have the access of communication even though they're self-dispatching on their own? Is there any breakdown or delay in communication because of that?
No, ma'am. So they will, I believe I understand the gist of that. No, they will take their calls and they will dispatch their own police and fire. So it won't be a part of a consolidated center, but it'll be directly from their police department.
And mutual aid is all still in effect, and there's...
Yes, ma'am. This doesn't affect any of their operational stance. They'll still have the same mutual aid partners. They'll still have the same police and fire relationships. This is just the dispatch function.
Okay, good. Thanks for the explanation.
No problem. Thank you.
Are there any additional questions? Okay, hearing none, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second, Mr. Trevor.
Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-09, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending to amend Board Approval Number BC 2020-419, dated July 20th, 2020, which approved various direct open market purchases by rescinding the award on purchase order number 200-02164 to Delta Scientific Corporation in the amount not to exceed $16,930.89 for the purchase of 3 portable vehicle barriers and 1 hauler to transport the barriers for use by Metro Parks Police. And B, recommending an award and enter into a contract with Delta Scientific Corporation in connection with said purchase.
Good morning, this is Mary Beth Vaughn again. When we went to place this order back in July, the vendor provided us terms and conditions that resulted us in us having to convert this purchase into a contract. So we went through the process. Ohio EMA has reviewed the contract, and they have also approved it as this is a grant-related purchase.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second, this is Dale.
Second.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-10, Department of Public Safety and Justice Services, recommending an award and enter into a contract with West Publishing Corporation, doing business as Thomas Reuters West, in the amount not to exceed $27,557.40 for the purchase of 6 clear LE Plus with license plate reader user licenses for the Northeast Ohio Regional Fusion Center for the period January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021.
This is Mary Beth Vaughn again, and also on the line is Michael Herb, Director of the Fusion Center, in case there's any programmatic questions. This software will give the analyst access to data that will give advance warning and real-time alerts. We solicited informal quotes on this, and we are making a recommendation to the lowest cost vendor. Ohio EMA has approved this award as it is a grant-related purchase.
Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Cole English. All those in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-11, Medical Examiner's Office recommending a sole source award on a purchase order to Thermo Electron North America, LLC, in the amount not to exceed $45,441.94 for the purchase of 2 replacement Nicolette mid-infrared spectrometers for the drug chemistry lab.
Do we have someone from the Medical Examiner's Office on the line? Are you on mute? Okay. In the meantime, let's go on and go to the next item.
BC 2021-12, Sheriff's Department, requesting authority to prepare an agreement with the City of Solon in the amount not to exceed $45,000 for outsourcing prisoner board and care services to reduce the average daily population for the period January 1st, 2021 through December 31st, 2021.
Good morning. This is Donna Cleel, Sheriff's Fiscal Manager. Happy New Year to everybody. This is requesting approval for a contract with the City of Solon in order to send, inmates to the city of Solon, in order to get, I guess, our average daily population down, in case it starts to rise again. So this is just to have it in place, due to all the COVID restrictions and things like that. I think Warden Henry is also on the line with me. So if you have, any questions between the two of us, hopefully we can answer them.
Okay, are there any questions on this item?
Madam Chair, this is Trevor. Question.
Go ahead.
Happy New Year, Donna. Thanks for the advanced answers on the questions that were provided. Am I reading this that they will provide 2 beds to us per day? Is that right?
That, when you, that I don't know. When you say, where are you reading that at, Trev?
On the advanced questions, we asked how many inmates can Solon house, and the response we got is they are committed to provide 2 beds per day.
Okay, I wasn't on that response, so, if maybe Warden Henry could jump in on this?
Oh, sorry, it was from, Michelle Henry.
Okay. Is she on?
And I was just a little surprised to see that it's only 2. If our goal is to, as you mentioned, to get our ADP down, is the 2 that helpful to us in the end?
Well, here's what I'm looking at. Just doing some quick math, if this is not to exceed 45,000, it's $85 a day, 85 times 2 times 365, that's 62,000. So I'm guessing, again, Warden Henry is supposed to be on the call. I wasn't, on that email with those answers, but I'm guessing that's probably going to be the extent of it, because, this does say a not to exceed 45,000. So, but, if you want, Trevor, I could send an email out to, Warden Henry and to Rhonda Gibson for some clarification. I'd be happy to do that.
Yeah, it just seems like, I understand if it was more, and maybe 2 is somewhat helpful, but 2 beds per day, I'm just, right, and when we have the Bedford Heights jail sitting there that isn't open, right, that could house, what, I believe 75 or 85, whatever that number is. I forget how many, my apologies, I forget how many are at Bedford Heights, but, we're doing this for 2?
And again, I may have, there might be, and I wasn't privy to these meetings, why we're doing this, so maybe there is another reason for having a couple of beds out there. I can't answer that. I guess I was assuming it was to keep, ADP down, or if there's, COVID positive, inmates. That was my assumption. If there is another reason why it's only 1 or 2 beds, I can try to get you that answer. I wasn't part of these discussions.
Do we know how this was initiated?
I don't. I was just told to put it into place.
Okay.
That would be a question, again, for probably Rhonda, Chief of Public Safety Corey. So I'm kind of writing these things down so I can ask how was this initiated and what's the 2-bed purpose, what's it going to serve?
Thank
and
you.
I can send that out, and I can get that over to you.
This is Nan Baker, if I may ask.
Okay.
I agree with Trevor, not so much the dollar amount, but the use of Solon when we do have Bedford Heights out there. Why would we open a new jailhouse when we already have one that's there? And 2 doesn't seem to be enough to warrant moving in that direction. So if it doesn't make sense, we should probably find the answers out before we approve it.
And I will do that. I'm writing all this down. I will send an email out to Chief Corey, to Rhonda, to Warden Henry, and see if I can't get you some answers before we move on this. Because we do still have the 3 county jails that we send inmates to also. We currently have Jaga, Solon, and Wood, and I am pretty sure those are still in place because we don't have agreements with them. When it's county to county, you don't have to have an agreement. But county to city, you do. So we do still have access to those 3 jails. So So basically, you want to know how was this initiated? What's the purpose of 2 beds only? You know, what's the reasoning behind it? And why are we using Solon when we have Bedford Heights? Are those the current questions I'm looking for?
Yes, I didn't get updated answers either, so I'm not sure where, Trevor's reading the 2 beds, so maybe I missed an email that explains it a little bit more.
Yeah, I wasn't on that email either.
Separate. Yeah, it came separate, Councilwoman Baker. I think they were just a little delayed in putting it in the main document. So it came after the, first set of prepared questions.
Okay, I didn't see that either. I wasn't on it either, so I can maybe get a better answer to that for you. My apologies. I wish I knew more, but again, I don't.
Madam Chair, if it's okay, if we can hold this item, till at least next week.
Absolutely. Let's put a pause on this one and go ahead and move forward to the next agenda item.
Next item, BC 2021-13, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Children and Family Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with University of South Florida Board of Trustees for creation, implementation, and maintenance of the Just-in-Time Foster Parent Caregiver web-based training program for the period March 23rd, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2021, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $30,000.
Good morning. Paul Porter, Health and Human Services on behalf of the Division of Children and Family Services. This is a training service for prospective and current foster parents through DCFS, where they can access nationwide training resources, including, documents and web-based resources, as well as real-time training from foster parenting experts. This is an online service through the University of South Florida, and it's a proprietary website, not a public website. So basically, this covers the cost of belonging to that program, and then the foster parents can access this training site. And it has been used even during COVID. We haven't seen a decrease at all in the number of foster parents that are using this. People are still viewing the website, looking at trainings, and then they're able to get certificates if they follow through a certain amount of the training as well.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Hearing no questions, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilman Miller. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Opposed? Approved. Next item.
Next item, BC 2021-14, Department of Health and Human Services, Division of Senior and Adult Services, submitting an amendment to a contract with the Center for Community Solutions for financial support for administrative staffing for the period January 1st, 2020 through December 31st, 2020, to extend the time period to December 31st, 2021, and for additional funds in the amount not to exceed $20,000.
Good morning. Paul Porter, Health and Human Services on behalf of the Division of Senior and Adult Services. This is an amendment to our annual funding that we provide to help support the COOP, or the Council on Older Persons. The Center for Community Solutions is the agency that facilitates COOP, and especially this year in light of the pandemic, COOP has done a lot of work to compile information about how the landscape for services for seniors throughout Cuyahoga County has changed as a result of the pandemic. They continue to convene regular meetings of COOP and invite experts in the aging field as well as community leaders throughout the state of Ohio to talk about issues that are impacting the senior services network of providers throughout the county. They also, under this contract, in addition to convening COOP, get paid to complete that work of compiling issue briefs about the changing landscape of senior services throughout the county. And I will note that this funding, back when it originally started, was part of a challenge grant to get other agencies to provide funding to support COOP. So in addition to our funding, There's funding from McGregor Foundation, Western Reserve Area Agency on Aging, and the Benjamin Rose Institute to support COOP.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item? Okay, hearing no questions, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second, this is Park.
Second, this is Dale.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. I understand that we have. Entire vote. Oh, I'm sorry. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed?
Aye.
Okay, opposed? Item approved. I understand the medical examiner is on the line now, so we'll go back to that item.
Now I'll go ahead and read it into the record again. BC 2021-11, Medical Examiner's Office recommending a sole source award on a purchase order to Thermo-Electron North America LLC in the amount not to exceed $45,441.94 for the purchase of 2 replacement Nicolette mid-infrared spectrometers for the drug chemistry lab.
Steve Shannon from the Medical Examiner's Office. These are spectrometers for the drug chemistry lab. It helps them identify different substances that come through the laboratories. And this was part of our first phase of opioid settlement planning for those funds.
Okay, are there any questions on this item? Okay, hearing no questions, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second, this is Park.
This is Dale.
Seconded by Mr. McAleer. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Next up is our consent agenda items. Our consent agenda items are numbers 15 through 17. Let's take a moment to review the consent agenda items. Are there any?
This is Nan Baker. I have a question on the consent agenda. So, BC 16. First of all, what is media monitoring services? What does that consist of?
Good morning. This is Miranda Corton from the Department of Communications. So Agility PR Solutions provided media monitoring services, which included allowing us to filter in all relevant news, online news related to the county, which we would then compile into a list every day to send out as the daily news clips.
So by eliminating this, how have we compromised that service?
So what we've been doing is sort of more manually doing it. With Agility, it was filtering it in for us through keywords that we set up, such as Cuyahoga County Department of Development or other departments within the county. So what we've been doing is using Google Analytics, which is free. It's manual though. We have to basically do a search in Google and then copy and paste the relevant news articles into an email.
Okay. And you have the time and staff to continue that?
Yes, we do. We have an internal communications focused individual who's a communications specialist in our department who has been able to focus on this.
All right. A second question, if I may. This is effective May 22nd, 2020, and this is January, beginning of January 2021. How come we're just now voting for this to be effective at that May 22nd date?
So on May 22nd is when we sent the termination letter to the vendor. After that, we then had to ensure that we paid for any outstanding invoices with the vendor, which we did do. And then after that, we had to enter it into OnBase, and basically it's because of those steps we had to take in order to get it into OnBase first. So
the 7-month process in order to terminate and bring it to Board of Control in January.
Yes, I understand your question, and I guess my response is we haven't been working with this vendor at all. Again, we did pay any invoices with them right away to ensure there wasn't anything outstanding with them. And I think it was just a matter of, you know, a delay on our part in getting it into OnBase after that.
Okay, so no other invoices as of May 22nd, 2020 are due to this supplier?
No.
Okay. All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem, thank you.
Any additional questions regarding the consent agenda items?
I had a question also on, there was no response given. If there could be a response, unless there was an email follow-up I didn't see, on 20003233 for background checks for criminal investigation, January and February of 2020. Why that is given to us, again, so late, given it's almost a year later.
This is Laura Sims from the Sheriff's Office. What I can tell you is there was a problem with particular payment. We did actually pay it back in February when the invoices came in. However, this is right when the new Enforce system came out, and as you can see, it's for the state of for the treasurer. There are several. Subsequently, we found out there are several treasurers in the addresses in there, and the payment got sent to the wrong address in the Enforce system. When it was converted over from the system, it picked one of the addresses, and what we didn't realize is that it wasn't necessarily the correct address. So we actually have been working with the state of Ohio because they cashed the check, and then they couldn't figure out who cashed it. We got a refund check back from them. And so by the time we had worked all of this out with them, this is where we are with that. So it was an issue with the Enforce system, and then with the state accidentally cashing the check and refunding it to us, and then we had to resubmit it.
Okay, I know that happens. Who caught the initial mistake? Did we catch it, or did the state of Ohio catch it?
We actually caught it, because what happened was we submitted the invoice and assumed that it had been paid, but then when we got the statement in, we saw that it wasn't. So we had reached out to them and said, hey, wait a minute, we sent you the check, here's the check number. And then, you know, obviously they have several different departments, and with lots of bureaucracy, they don't particularly talk to each other. So then we had to, you know, figure out that it actually had been checked, and they were trying to figure out who it was. And then somebody had cashed it, and then they didn't even tell us that they were refunding it. We just literally got the check in the mail and then had to figure out that that's where it had gone to this payment.
Okay, well, that does explain it. Thank you for that.
I know it was kind of an odd one, because when we got the refund check in, we thought, why are they sending us this money, and who and what's it for? And it took us a little investigation to figure out that it was actually for this missing invoice that we had been trying to figure out where the payment went.
Okay, good. All right, thank you. I know that happens. I appreciate you following up on it.
Sure, no problem.
Any additional questions? Hearing no additional questions, I motion to approve the consent agendas. Is there a second?
Second, this is Dale.
Seconded by Councilman Miller. All those in favor of approval, say aye.
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 Consent agenda items are approved. Moving on to other business.
Yes, we have one time sensitive mission critical item, BC 2021-18, Medical Examiner's Office, recommending an award on a purchase order to LEPD Firearms and Range in the amount not to exceed $3,141.36 for the purchase of ammunition for the period December 11th, 2020 through January 11th, 2021.
This is Hugh Shannon from the Medical Examiner's Office. We've experienced some fairly severe supply chain issues with ammunition during the past year. We were getting dangerously low, and this vendor ended up having quite a bit of what we have been looking for quite some time. So I think they wanted to move on it to make sure that we didn't run low in the firearms lab.
Thank you. Are there any questions on this item?
Nan Baker, what type of ammunition is it?
There's actually quite a bit of different kinds for test firing weapons in the lab.
Test firing, okay. Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Any additional questions for this item? Okay, hearing no additional questions, I move to approve this item. Is there a second?
Second.
Second. This is Trevor.
Seconded by Nicole English. All those in favor of approval, say aye.
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 Opposed? Item approved. Any public comment? Hearing no public comment, I make a motion to adjourn. Is there a second?
Second.
By Nicole English.